Once upon a time, in the radiant kingdom of Lamora, where the skies blushed at sunset and rivers whispered secrets, Princess Akira lived a life of luxury, but her heart knew only longing. Her parents, King Darien and Queen Alara, kept her hidden within the opulent walls of the palace, believing it to be the safest place for their only child. The palace was a masterpiece, its towering spires glittering like crystals under the sun, and its halls adorned with murals that seemed to move when no one was looking. But to Akira, it was a cage gilded with sorrow. Akira often wandered the palace gardens, trailing her fingers along the soft petals of glowing roses. She watched the bustling city from her tower window, where children laughed and played. Her chest ached as she whispered to herself,
"What would it feel like to belong somewhere?"
She had no one. No companions, no confidants. The silence in her chambers was deafening. Then, at 8 years old, her solitude was briefly interrupted. One quiet afternoon, as she read by the window, a boy crawled out from under her bed, startling her into dropping her book.
"Don't scream. They'll throw me out if they find me here."
"Who are you?"
"I'm Touro. My mom works here. I just wanted to see what it's like inside the palace."
Akira smiled. Soon both were happily talking. Touro's lively descriptions of the outside world captivated Akira. He spoke of bustling marketplaces, where street performers juggled fire, and secret hideaways beneath ancient trees.
"You've never been out there?"
Akira shook her head, her voice barely audible.
"I've never even stepped outside the palace gates."
"So, you're like a rare bird in a golden cage, fancy but trapped." "Actually, scratch that. You're Princess Glowstick, shiny but stuck in one spot."
Akira glared at him.
"So, Glowstick, what do you do for fun? Watch the walls dry?"
Despite herself, Akira giggled. His carefree nature and silly roasts lit up her lonely heart. That afternoon, they laughed, shared secrets, and dreamed together. Touro told her of bustling markets, secret hideouts, and sunsets that painted the world in fire. For the first time, Akira felt alive. Both looked at each other and laughed their hearts out. But their joy was fleeting. When the palace guards discovered Touro, and he and his mother were banished from the palace, Akira cried and begged her parents to let him stay, but Queen Alara said firmly,
"Rules are rules, Akira. The palace is not a place for trespassers."
It was the first time Akira's trust in her parents fractured. The years passed, and the lonely princess grew into a fierce young woman. Tired of her life of confinement, Akira planned her escape. Under the cover of night, she slipped out of the palace, her heart pounding with both fear and excitement. The cool night air kissed her cheeks as she wandered into the unknown. She found herself in a lively village square, its cobbled streets lit by lanterns and alive with laughter. As she strolled, her hood low over her face, a familiar voice stopped her in her tracks.
"Get your one-of-a-kind carvings here. Made with love and 2 splinters per hour."
Akira turned toward the sound, her breath catching. There he was, Touro, older but unmistakable, arranging wooden carvings on a small stall. He looked up, and their eyes met.
"Glowstick? Is that you?"
Still giving people ridiculous names, I see.
"Hey, don't blame me. You're the one who still glows like a firefly in the dark. What are you doing here? Did the palace finally run out of walls to stare at?"
Akira couldn't resist laughing. They spent the evening catching up, Touro's roasts and jokes making her laugh until her sides hurt. He told her about his struggles, how he worked odd jobs to support his mother, who still blamed herself for their banishment. Akira listened intently, guilt tugging at her heart.
"So, what's the master plan now? Stay chained up and call it room service goals, or are we plotting a jailbreak between yawns?"
No clue. Have to figure things out.
My mother has gone to her sister's place for a few days. If you are willing, you can come over to my place and let's figure out something.
Akira agreed. Their bond deepened over the following days. Touro took her to fairs, introduced her to strange and delicious foods, and showed her the world she had only dreamed of. He made her laugh in ways she didn't know were possible, calling her glowstick every chance he got. At first, the name irritated her, but over time, it became a term of endearment, a reminder of how he saw her light even in her darkest moments. Their days together were filled with simple joys. Akira noticed the way Touro's eyes softened when she laughed, and how he always walked slightly ahead when the path seemed dangerous. Touro, in turn, saw how Akira's face lit up at the smallest things, as though the world itself was a treasure chest waiting to be unlocked. Neither spoke of these aloud, but in their quiet moments, when their hands brushed accidentally, or when Touro lingered just a second too long while helping her down from a tree, they both knew. One evening, while Touro left home in a hurry, Akira noticed his phone buzzing incessantly. A message lit up the screen which read dash. Exclusive news of Princess Akira whereabouts only in lieu of $1 million. Akira couldn't believe her eyes.
All this was for money?
Akira's heart sank. By then Touro arrived and saw his phone in Akira's hand. Touro's face fell.
Wait, glowstick, let me explain.
Don't call me that.
She snapped, tears brimming in her eyes.
Okay. Princess. Listen, I messed up, but I swear, I couldn't go through with it.
Couldn't go through with it? What do you mean? I trusted you.
As she walked away, Touro's usual grin disappeared. He sank to his knees, whispering to himself.
I'm an idiot. The kind of idiot who loses the best thing that ever happened to me.
Akira turned and walked out, leaving Touro standing in the doorway. When Akira returned to the palace, her parents greeted her with relief. Her parents were all into tears, howling.
Akira, we thought we lost you forever. The curse came true.
Curse? What curse?
When you were a baby, your Aunt Marina cursed you. She envied your place as heir and vowed that if you ever stepped out of palace, tragedy would follow.
Akira's breath caught and she said softly.
But in doing so, you kept me from truly living.
We see our mistake, Akira. We are so sorry that we trust you. Live your life, and we'll face whatever comes together.
The truth softened her anger. But as she sat in her chambers, staring at the tapestry on the wall, her thoughts drifted to Touro. Despite his betrayal, she couldn't forget his kindness, his laughter, or the way he had shown her a world she had only dreamed of. Days later, during the grand masquerade ball, Akira appeared, stunning the guests with her ever-gorgeous looks. As she danced, a familiar figure appeared in the crowd. Touro stepped forward hesitantly, his gaze filled with regret.
Princess Akira, I came to say I'm sorry. I've been helping others with what little I have, trying to be someone worthy of the trust I broke.
Akira studied him for a long moment.
I forgave you long back, Touro, but you broke my trust. You will have to earn it back to get me back in your life.
Touro nodded solemnly. She offered him her hand.
Shall we dance?
Under the glittering chandeliers, their steps were hesitant at first, but soon, they moved as though no one else existed. Akira felt something stir in her heart, a cautious hope, perhaps even love. And Touro, for the first time, felt like he was exactly where he belonged.